Welcome back to Wookiees and Mirkwood. We're here for another list review, bit of a less competitive one, so a nicer one in my opinion. It's Go Back Sam. I'm going to Bangor alone. I know you are, but I'm playing with you two. GBHL 80, IHL 40. Is it an IHL 80, Nicky? Is that a typo?
No, it's a IHL 40. So they do 40s for their casual events.
I genuinely didn't even know that was a fucking thing.
Yeah, it's for the non-competitive ones.
Fair. Well, an IHL 40. We've got 10 teams down to 9 teams now because we've had an unfortunate drop. But just before we get into the lists as well, I just want to have a quick look at the event pack because I just want to go through like the prizes and stuff and how it actually works. It's not your typical event. Anyone that watched the one for this last time will maybe remember that it's sort of focused around fun and hobbying, more so than the actual winning side of things, even though there is still a first place trophy. So it's all very standard stuff, other than I think you've got set missions for each round, but we still roll for the missions within the round. Is that right?
Yeah,
So
I tried to do a mix of each pool and each, so like you couldn't really build a list around the scenarios I was going to pick. So everyone I think has a Maelstrom one, everyone has a Kelly one, and everyone has an objective one. So you couldn't really cater a list to try and uh like cater for the scenarios, if you know what I mean.
yeah, definitely. Tell the DD, which if anyone watches these, you'd be familiar with the venue by now. It's where we all go. It's in Bangor. It's the best one that is about, in our humble opinion. So this Saturday and prizes. So this is the main thing I wanted to focus on. So we have first place with Spirit of Middle Earth, which Calvin and I won last year, just to ring our bell there. Best Painted Army, individual 300. So best painted army, is that going to be each person's one's judged individually? Is that what that's saying? Or is it going to be you go into that together?
Yeah, there's a little typo here. It's actually because it's 800 points, so it's an individual 400-point army. This was last year's real pack. I forgot to update. But for best painted, everyone will put their half of the army out individually.
Cool.
So the best painted will go to one person.
Interesting. Yeah, that's good. Makes more sense. Wooden spoon, as expected, and independent numbers. Obviously, things can be more. There's also additional points for background lore, 1 to 3 points charged by the TO. The background lore will be read out by ourselves as we go through the list. Favorite opponent vote, 2 points per vote. Army list, 1 point per vote for favorite army list. Any team member wearing a costume or prop related to their army is 1 point per player. Should the effort be considered exceptional, an extra bonus point will be awarded per player. The team that is dropped probably would have been the exceptional one as well.
Yeah, I think they were favorites to win the costume
Yeah,
prize anyway.
yeah, genuinely think they would have taken it. But yeah, that's pretty much like the important stuff from it. Games are what, 2 hours, 15 minutes. Yeah, there's your general summary. Doubles. That's one important thing I probably forgot to mention is the doubles win.
I guess the other thing is too that the whole event revolves around like unlikely alliances and maybe like stories that were forgotten about history. So
Yeah,
you could have like hobbits pairing with Minas Tirith, and instead of getting your army bonus, you'll draw random army bonuses. So there'll be a bag of army bonuses on each table. You'll draw 3. You'll then show them to your opponent, and your opponent will have an opportunity to destroy one of them, so you can't have it. And they can do that by rolling a dice, and on a 4-up, they can remove one of them. Then you pick an army bonus from the remaining 2, and that's your army bonus for that game. And then your 2 armies will act as green allies for that game as well.
yeah, so
So
pretty important stuff actually. Good thing you highlighted that. Because that was all in last year's as well, but I actually completely forgot about the army bonus thing. It was a good addition. So yeah, without further ado, I will just bring up some of the lists, I believe, here. Spoilers. So can you see that okay?
yep.
4th Dedolingus. So probably arguably going to be one of my favorite teams of the tournament. Bradley Moore and Stevie McChrystal. Harder to find a more fun-loving duo than Bradley and Stevie, if that's one way you could put it. Like,
Definitely the
Um,
banter team. Yeah.
definitely the Panther team. So Warband one, leader Warband. It's Theoden, King of Rohan. He's on the armored horse with the heavy armor and shield. He's got 5 Rohan Royal Guard. Warband 2 is Aylmer, Marshal of the Riddermark with an armored horse, throwing spears and a shield. He's got 3 Riders of Rohan with throwing spears and another 3 Riders of Rohan. Warband 3 is King of the Dead with 4 Warriors of the Dead with shields, 3 with spears, and 5 Riders. Warband 4, Herald of the Dead with a shield. 27 models, 14 models to break it, and 6 models left will be 25%. So a Rohan and Army of the Dead alliance. I'll
Yeah.
read out. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say I don't think these games will last too long with
No,
their model count.
not
It'll
at
be
all.
full send.
I mean, it's a lot more than what I've got, so we'll see. I'll read out their army lore, and then we'll have a wee look in detail sort of about it. So, whilst under the powers of Grima Wormtongue, Theoden King dreamed from within his mind of better times and places. Throughout his many dreams, such as riding with Aylmer through the rolling hills of Rohan, great feasts in greater halls, and the loving touch of a woman, one dream came to him time and time again in his darkest times, when Grima held his most influence over yet a battle to of a battle yet to pass on the horizon. I think I meant to say. Theoden dreamed of Dunharrow, a place he had never ventured into nor dared think about when he was at his strongest, but now he felt drawn to it. He dreamt of the king of Dunharrow rallying his troops alongside Theoden to ride into battle against the dark forces of Saruman's Uruk-hai. It is this dream that comes true in our epic saga today, as the riders of Rohan ally with the riders of the dead. So that explains the 5 Riders of the Dead. I just could not get that. But his most influence of a yet to pass battle on the horizon after that now it makes sense.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I didn't grammar check any of people's lore, so I think there's as well some teams are slightly better at writing than the others, so there might be a few more
I mean
grammatical
it's fine. It
mistakes
is
in later
actually
ones.
fine. It's just the way you read it. But yeah, yeah. But I was wondering, like the 5 Riders. Just I don't know if I've ever seen anyone run 5 Riders. So that's
So normally one or two.
yeah. That's the reasoning pretty strong there. I'm excited about that. Does he have actual riders, or has he done what I did and just got Rohan guys and fucked them up a bit?
I think he has Green Riders of Rohan,
Yeah,
so it's fitting with the allies.
works. It is actually. Yeah, yeah, makes
It's
it even better.
Timu Riders of the Dead.
So yeah, Theoden, Elmer Space, King of the Dead with his pokey stick, and we Harold. So like you say, I don't think it'll be overly. Even for the fact that Bradley and Stevie's playing it as well, you just know it's not going to be a long game whatsoever.
It charged on turn one.
Yeah, 3 turns a game unless the scenario disallows for it. That's what I'm saying. List number 2, Tim and Shay. Um, 2 good players. Is this Tim Spears?
No, not Tim
Kennedy?
Spears, Tim Kennedy.
Tim
Yeah.
Kennedy. So yeah, 2 solid players. So 800 points, 45 models, so a lot more. Mordor, the Serpent Horde, and Moria. So some gobos. Um, Witch King of Angmar, he's got 3 might, 3 fate, 3 will, extra will, I imagine that is. Horse, Crown of Morgul, 8 Black Numenorians, 7 more and Orc, shield, spear, and an armored horse. Does he only actually have 3 will?
No, no, it's the three extra will. So
That's
he's
okay.
base
Yeah, it's
10 and
just, yeah,
Mordor.
that's
No,
fine.
base. I think it puts him up to 15. I think so. What's he
Yeah,
base 12? Yeah, yeah.
it's fine. I assumed that, but it was just to make it clear. Yeah, Scylla the Serpent Lord, an armored horse. Player 2, Moria Black Shield Shaman, Cave Drake, love it. Moria Goblin Captain with a shield, 4 Moria Goblin Warriors with bow, 4 with spear, 4 with shield, Moria Goblin Captain, again with 4 with shield, 4 with spear, 4 with bow. I like that actually. It's a tasty list. So we dirty Suladan in there, which came a bit more competitive than our last list.
Yeah, it's probably important to mention too with this year, I'm not doing the double scenarios. So we're rolling the normal scenarios and you deploy as one force. So it means that things like getting your Black Numenorian front line with your goblins in the back is more likely to happen, whereas the double scenarios tend to split you up. You
Yeah,
end up having like two separate games.
that's another very important point. Yeah, we did play the double scenarios last year, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just mad. Um,
I think they favor like mobile lists as well. So if you can get across to the other side of the board and delete one half of someone's army, you're way more likely to do well.
sure. It'll be interesting to see how it works during the single scenarios, quite like that. But yeah, it's strong enough, strong enough. Is this Shay's part, the Mordor? I didn't
Yeah,
even
so
know that Shay had any Mordor.
I
Get
think
that
he's
far.
paint he's this is all that he has, and he's painted it up for this event. So he's
That's
bringing
nice
the
to see.
elite stuff, and then
Yeah, he's
Timmy's
bringing the
bringing the
chaff.
numbers. Yeah,
Not
Cave
bad.
Drake's always hard to deal with as well.
It's just great. It's a great model. So their lore. Sauron called together all the great warlords of Middle-earth loyal to him to convey his great battle plans and begin his destructive plans on the realms, on men, elves, dwarves, and the rest of the free folk of Middle-earth. The Witch King, Sauron's most capable and evilly efficient commander, he gave the orders to head northeast and meet up with a daring and impressively cunning black goblin shaman. Tremorstaff and his war party, who had tamed a cave drake to assist him in the claiming the lands of the north. Upon hearing this, Suladan, the Serpent Lord, offered his own assistance. Rather than just wait while his army made its way to Mordor, Suladan was always keen to show off his military prowess and slaughter in the name of the Dark Lord. Suladan's just like, what's happening? What's the crack, lads? Fucking
Hey,
just gonna get stuck in there, so I am.
I like that they made the effort to
It's
explain
brilliant.
why they're all there.
Yeah, yeah. It's good, but I just thought that just made me smile upon hearing that. So I was like, what is happening? So yeah, that's gonna be one of the stronger lists for sure. Two players don't know what they're doing. Dirty black line of or line of black Numenorians. Uh, yeah, Solaran doing Solaran things.
And
Um,
then, as they're all green allies, then Suladan will be the banner for the goblins as well.
yeah, yeah,
His banner's just army banner, isn't it? It's not like specific to any keyword.
yeah. I'm pretty
So
sure.
yeah, yeah,
So it's just
that's
a
why he's
big
taking in
banner
all the
as well.
Mordor lists. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good. Arlis will smash it. To sound. Ben and Peter.
So
So
last year's champions.
last year's champions of the actual prize, what we won the actual prize.
the,
Just
the
saying.
first place prize
Means
winners from last year.
just saying. Just saying. Sorry, that's sorry. But the scattered forces of the White Hand. Warband 1. Vrasku, leader. Urukai with crossbow, four of those. Four with pikes. Work with a spear. Wargrider with a shield. Corbane. And that's it for Warband 1. Warband 2, Gorolf, another four Uruk-hai crossbow, another four pikes, and an Uruk-hai banner with a pike. Two Warg Riders with a shield. And they have exactly 400 points. Um,
So the other half then split
that's
out.
the other half. Yeah. So just looking like trying to count up the models in his roughly there. I suppose he has it at the bottom, does he? No? Oh, he does.
Yeah, 45
Um,
altogether.
Gondor will fall. I like the name of that. The Knight of Umbar on Fellbeast. Fair enough. I like that. Five Corsair Arblasters, seven Corsairs with Spear and Shield, two Corsairs with Shield, Corsair Captain with Crossbow, two Corsair Arblasters, two Corsairs with Shield and Spear, one Corsair with Shield, exactly 400 on the button as well. 45 models, 23 to break, 11 to quarter. Don't see the Knight of Umbar very often. I got one and then sold it to you because I never actually ended up using it in time. Um,
Yeah, I've never seen him on the table either, especially
so
not on a fell beast.
I'm actually a fan of this list. I like this list. Vrasky,
Yeah,
Gorolf, and Knight of Umbar, and of course our captain.
it's got some scary shooting with all the crossbows on both halves.
Yeah, it's a good list. Um, I'm just liking the hero choices. Yeah, I think they could do well. Them and Tim and Shay, like, and them could Ben and Peter could very well fight it out at the actual top tables.
This
Um,
might shoot them off the table depending on the scenario. There.
yeah, but also after like shooting can at times do very little. So but you're right. Let's see theirs. I expect theirs will probably be quite good, their lore story. Uh, it had been a long journey across Enidwaith, but at least the ship was in sight now. Gorolf hadn't quite bargained for the fact that one of Sauron's envoys had been sent to gather the scattered forces of the White Hand for an assault to the east, but he wasn't going to argue. Saruman was defeated. They had failed at Helm's Deep. Orthanc had fallen to the Ents. He was lucky to be alive. Or was he? He hadn't really decided yet. He had been sent along with that tusk-faced savage Vrasku to secure passage away from Isengard for his master. But Saruman wouldn't be needing it. No, he did. Vrasku was meant to be the leader of this rabble, but it was Gorolf who had done all the work. It was him who had received word that Sauron had sent the Nine to gather forces for an all-out offensive to the west. It was him who arranged to meet a ship from Umbar at the mouth of the river Isen. It was him who was going to have his pound of flesh on the battlefield. Of course, that crossbow-wielding meathead and his hunting party had come too, but they could yet prove useful. I do quite like that one.
Yeah, I think that be full marks for that. It's an actual like mini story.
Yeah. Ours is fucking ridiculous. I don't even want to read it, genuinely. Mine Calvin's. Wrote it in about 5 minutes earlier, genuinely laughing as I was doing it. I had no time. Ewan and Collie. That's a team of the ages there. Let's see. So, Kingdom of Khazad-dûm. We have a Dwarf Ballista during 6 Dwarf Warriors with Shield, 3 Dwarf Warriors with Bow, 1 Dwarf Warrior Banner, and 5 Khazad Guard, Horse Guard. And then Ewan, I assume, is bringing the Rohan, and he will have Theoden, King of Rohan, Armored Horse and Heavy Armor, 1 Royal Guard with Banner and Horse, and 5 Rohan Royal Guard with Throwing Spears and Horses, and 5 Sons of Ural.
It's
Cool.
Durnhelm as well there.
And Durnhelm. Oh, so it is, yeah. And Durnhelm. I think they are Tabletop Admiral, aren't they? That's what that is.
Yeah, I got a few lists sent like this, but I wasn't going to argue because it checks the points for
I
me.
mean, you can see it. It's fine. It's readable. Cool. That's I didn't actually know they were in the team. So they're going to be a banter squad as well. That's going to be great.
What do Sons of Earl have over? Because I've never come across people playing them.
The oral. I actually don't know, to be completely honest.
Check actually.
Um,
You can read the lore and I'll check. Sure.
I think who also played them recently. There's someone that did play them very recently.
I think they'll be going to Legends pretty soon, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
So the kingdom of Khazad-dûm, led by King Durin VII, was struggling to reclaim its ancient halls from orcs and goblins. Meanwhile, in Rohan, King Eomer II learned of a vast orc army led by a dark sorcerer preparing to invade both realms. Recognizing the danger, Eomer sent a delegation to Khazad-dûm to propose an alliance, understanding that neither kingdom could stand alone against the threat. Durin, wary but desperate, agreed. The dwarves would hold the mountain passes while the riders of Rohan harried the enemy on the plains. When the orc army descended, the dwarves stood firm at the gates of Khazad-dûm while the riders of Rohan cut through the enemy ranks. Their combined strength turned the tide, and the sorcerer was slain by a rider's spear, causing the orcs to flee. In the aftermath, a bond formed between Khazad-dûm and Rohan as they had fought together against a common foe. Despite their differences, they shared a newfound respect, knowing they had stood united against darkness, defending their homes and people side by side. For a time, an alliance flourished between the dwarves and the Rohirrim, founded on bravery and mutual honor. It's a good one as well.
Another great story, yeah. I looked up Sons of Earl there, so they're Fight 4, Strength 4, and D6, so they're like one above. Oh, and Courage 4, so they're like a bit of a stat boost on the.
Bill.
And they gain +1 to their attack value if they're within 6 of Earl Young, but there's no Earl Young.
They're not bad on the model count side either, generally speaking.
What do they have in total there?
Like 32. which like considering their models
Yeah, and
isn't
punchy
actually
models as
that bad.
well.
Yeah, so could do quite well as
D
well.
Dwarves hold the line while Rohan batters the flanks.
Pretty much. Yeah, it'll be cool to see how much they can actually pull off their strut from their story. Bill and Chris. Bill and Chris won't actually be here anymore. This is the team that dropped, but likely would have won with their Ghostbusters costume and ghost
Yeah,
and whatever else.
sad to see they won't be there. I think they were definitely favourites for winning the Spirit Award, being two great banter players and the effort they put into their costumes.
Yeah, and Chris, I'm pretty sure he did this last year. Just wrote a book. So
It's a proper short story. I think it's like 2 pages long.
yeah,
I think in their honor, you should read it out
well, I'll
anyway.
read it anyway. I'll read it anyway. I'll actually have a wee look at their list anyway. Yeah, they had Dead of Dunhar from Bill, so King of the Dead, two warriors, shield, three with shield and spear, warrior with spear, shield and banner. We Herald of the Dead, four warriors with shield, and three with shield and spear. And Chris brought in Erner with armored horse and lance. He was going to be like a king of Gondor or something, wasn't he? Five knights with shield, 10 pointing court with shield, a couple of bolt throwers as well. Would have been a fairly decent wee list as well.
It would have been the first of the new models from the new supplement to be played at an IHL event too.
Yeah,
So unfortunately, will not be at this event.
yeah. There's proper like actual speech and everything written in this one. It's unreal. I'll try and do those stupid voices. So challenge accepted. The siege of Minas Morgul. The guard took the letter from the messenger. His stench was unbearable. Make sure your king receives this message. Let him know it came from the Witch King of Angmar. We do not expect cowardice from your mighty lord this time, the messenger said mockingly. His black smile held as he turned and rode away. Mardell was used to long meetings with the King's Council, but a seemingly endless debate about fishing in this earth had somehow dominated this plenary. He heard the creaking sound of a door opening between the increasingly heated and over-dramatic arguments being screamed across the council chambers. Mardell turned to see a guard of the citadel approach, his black cloak trailing behind him as the steward hurriedly raced towards him. Show it far away, he whispered, as he handed over the unopened envelope. This letter was delivered to the city gate by a messenger bearing the mark of Mordor. He claims it was from the Witch King of Angmar. Mardol opened the letter. His hand began to tremble. He recognized the mark. He has challenged the king. Mardol had convinced Erner not to accept the challenge 7 years previously. It was a trap, an unwinnable fight. He knew he must not let the king know. Mardol, the look flustered. What bad news do you have for me? The king was standing right behind him. Mardol had not noticed he had left the large table of bickering lords. It was then the king of Gondor snatched the letter out of Mardol's hands. Erner knew instantly it was from the Witch King. He calls me a coward? The creature that hides behind his fortress walls, the creature that ran from me at Fornost, he calls me a coward? My king, he is taunting you. It will be a trap. Ignore it, said Mordor. This denizen has insulted me and my family and has disparaged those that suffered in Arnor. I'll stand for this. I will see to it he dies by my sword. You will not talk me out of it this time. But my lord, it is a trap. The Witch King will not face you alone. He has no honor. He knows he cannot defeat us, so is attempting to break the line of kings. I will break him, screamed Arner. Mardel continued in vain to stop the king. He knew he had to act fast to formulate a plan to prevent the death of his king. My lord, give me a few days and I will muster a host. We can march on Minas Morgul and raze it to the ground. And who are you going to call? Our forces are stretched on every border. What reserves can we spare would not last a battle? A challenge is on the way. I can kill him. I can get you more men, responded Mordor. There are none, the king replied. Mordor leaned towards the king. In even more serious but calm tone, Mordor gave the words that scared even the king of Gondor. There are those who dwell in the mountains. Murderers, traitors. You will call on them to fight. They believe in nothing. They answer to no one, questioned Erner, visibly disgusted. They will answer to the king of Gondor. The party of guards arrived at the end of the Dimholt Road. A standing stone was placed before a dark door, signifying the entrance to the paths of the dead. Erner approached the entrance. My king, are you sure you should be entering here? We can go in on your behalf, asked one of the guards. Erner responded. They will only answer to the king of Gondor. You are no more help here. Feel free to wait here and await my return. The guards looked at each other as Erner walked into through the door. They knew their duty and followed. The party travelled through day and night, passing forgotten cities, until they arrived at the Stone of Eric. It was at this point a faint light appeared. The intensity of the light grew until Erner could see the image of a man within the light. A voice echoed through the cave. Who enters my domain? Erner, who was seemingly undisturbed by this supernatural being, responded sternly. One who will have your allegiance. The dead do not suffer the living to pass, the ghostly man responded. You will suffer me. The dead man began to laugh. Aberrations began to appear in large numbers and surround the party. Erner was trapped.
I
Some
think
sort of.
yeah, I don't know what was more impressive, the story or your voice acting there, Connor.
Had to give
So
that one a bit of love, like.
if anyone's needing a voice actor, Connor is open for work.
That's the D&D sessions. Yeah, that's outstanding. Like Chris, you're genuinely right. Like,
I think this
so
is what
silly.
he looks forward to this every year.
Yeah, like
Last year's was amazing too.
genuinely upset that they're not playing. Like that is absolutely. You should have got extra points for that. Like that's above and beyond.
I
Like
think this is the
Christ.
standard I expect of everyone next year. Although
Yeah.
you minus like 3 points for that one typo we had. No, the grammatical mistake.
Really throw you off. Yeah, outstanding. Well done. Chris, unfortunately you're not there. Niall and Dicky. Which King of Angmar, which is Niall. Which King on horse? Crown, 3 might, 15 will, 3 fit. Gothmog on warg, 6 more navins with shield, 8 more navins with spear and shield. 16 models. Dicky has Azog and the White Warg. I love it. He's bringing Azog Hunters, I should say. 11 Hunter Orcs, 5 Hunter Orcs with 2 Hunter picks, 1 with the banner, Hunter Orc with Fell Warg, and boom. 35 models. And yeah, altogether. So what's that? 17, 18 to break. 9 1/4. And their little bit of lore is the Witch King of Angmar, Lord of the Nazgul, has heard tales of a legendary hero, the largest orc ever to walk Middle-earth, slain somewhere beneath the frozen ice sheets of Ravenhill. Using his corrupt and twisted magic, he finds the bloated corpse of the forgotten champion. His dark powers animate new life and foul blood into his lost host. Azog the Defiler lives again. Always love a bit of Azog, like, he's ruined my day so many times. But God love him.
I have just realized here as well. When Niall submitted his list, I calculated it as underpointed, and he hadn't given the Witch King any will, but he's now overpointed. So I corrected it for him and added the extra will, but I've over added it. So I don't know if Niall's seen his correction shit. I gave him a message earlier, but I think fully kitted Witch King on the horse with the crown is 150 points. So we'll figure it out. I'll have that
We'll
right
figure out. I mean, if
before
there's
he's playing
anyone, it
anyone.
doesn't matter. Like Niall, we'll just have a laugh anyway.
They're there for the banter for
Yeah,
sure.
like Niall's top lad, and there's no way that he's going to use that to his benefit, like, to wreck other people. And that's really what he's saying. But that's sortable. It's absolutely fine. Yeah. So lots of Hunter Orcs, 2 attacks each. Tough Mernans, Gothmog, being Gothmog, Witch King, just doing Witch King things. Never seen Niall use Witch King before, so it'll be interesting. So far, no one's coming close to me and my partner on the model count. But
Oh yeah. These are what, 60 models was it?
we have, I think, is it eight? Something like that.
Eight,
I think it's
eight and a
eight.
horse, eight
Eight
and
and a
two
half.
horses.
Yeah, eight and two horses, which we'll see soon. But yeah, solid list. Like it, guys. That's a good one. Nick and Crick, just that was meant to be, wasn't it? Surely. Um, two top lads again. I see Nick tonight. While I was off playing football. So Force A, we're on one. And letters and numbers, lads. Take a pick. Radagast Eagle and two Great Eagles. Nice and easy. Love it. And Airborne Reclaimed, Thorn Oak and Shield with Orcrist, 10 Iron Hills Warriors with Matic, 1 Iron Hill Warrior with Spear and Banner, 3 Warriors with Spear and Shield, and 2 with Crossbows. Warband 2, Battling, 31 models. Love Orbs, Doors, love Eagles. Like it.
Yeah. Interestingly, all of his Iron Hills Warriors are with Matic as well. So
You don't see
coming
that
in
often.
at D6, aren't they? Do they have
Yeah.
Burley with the Matics?
I don't think
Or is
so.
it just they can two-hand?
They can two-hand, but I don't think they have Burnley. What's
Yeah,
happened here is Nick played a fun list last time and won a prize, and he's realised that if he plays stuff that's good crack, that he's going to win shit. So
it's
it
definitely
doesn't.
a unorthodox Iron Hills or Airborne Reclaimed list. It'll be
Yeah,
fun though.
yeah, for
It'll
sure.
murder stuff.
It will. It will definitely murder stuff. Fucking big friggin' chickens. But yeah, I'll quickly read out their lore. Um, Upon the restoration of Erebor came many years of peace and prosperity. There was a little disturbance from the dark forces that once plagued the North regions at first. Winter rolled in colder and harsher than it had been for a long time. Slowly, one by one, the ravens of Erebor began to depart. The troubled, this troubled the dwarves. The ravens leaving was surely a bad omen for the mountain folk. On his journey to restore glory to the mountain, Thord had encountered one of the wise men by the name of Radagast. He knew of his reputation and love for all animals and decided that it would be best to hold a council with the wizard to see what the flight of the ravens meant. The wizard was to be located in a region further north where he had been seen with the great eagles. In the snowy passes of that mountain, the dwarves were ambushed by a large party of orcs. Many dwarves fell before. On the strong winds of the mountain passes came a song the dwarves had heard before. The eagles swooped down to save Thorn and his party before it was too late. The wizard, it seemed, had located them. You always know Nick's going to throw in a decent one, like, given
He's
that,
an English teacher, isn't
it's
he?
kind of his job to be good at stuff like this. Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
well written.
it's very well written. Yeah, I like that, and obviously, don't know how unlikely it is in a way, but solid,
Oh,
solid.
it's a fun list for sure.
It's a
And
very fun list, right? I mean, that's the hardest thing about it is writing something that's really, really unlikely. But like just going like, I wanted to do ants and trolls, but you can't do that shit.
especially with the parents, you're kind of working on what your
Yeah,
opponent actually has.
yeah,
Most people only have two or three armies in
yeah.
our group.
But I mean, again, there's nothing less likely than ants and trolls. Definitely think that should be allowed. I know it's good and evil, but like it would just be fucking hilarious. Yeah, it's a good list. 31 models, good lore, love it. I'm not sure how many we've got through and how many more we have to go.
I think there's two more in the Buybuster list, which won't be needed, hopefully.
Cool. Cool. So Dave and Michael, uh, Mimic of Harad with Mahud, Beastmaster Chieftain, Repelling Lines and Rocks. 5 Watchers of Karna with Twin Blades, 2 Watchers of Karna with Bows, and 1 Harajan Warrior with Bow. Mimic of Farharad with Repelling Lines and Rocks, 6 Mahud Warriors with Blow Pipes, and 2 Mahud Warriors. Dave being classic Dave, couldn't be arse writing anything, so just went 2 mimics, Nicky. We're off the raid, pillage it, and burn our way through Middle Earth on the backs of a mighty beasts. What more do you want? Classic Dave.
Aye.
Solid story, mate, but it's funny either way. So,
So
uh,
actually, the only way you could bring two mimics to this was to bring a mimic of Farharad and a mimic of Harad because you weren't allowed to bring models from the same army. So
They
Uh,
kind of nicely
fair,
away on that.
fair play. It's obviously a really fun list as well. Like
Yeah, love
double
it.
mimic. It's going to give. I don't. There's not a lot of magic, so I don't. Not and there's not a lot
I
of big
mean, an
heroes.
elf can hold it back if it keeps
Yeah,
winning
that's
the
true.
fight. So like, not a lot of elves though.
It's
But
also you're only a heroic move away from being a splatted elf as well.
yeah, but it's a it's a crack list, which so it could go genuinely either way. So good to see
I
it.
like this list. I think it's
I
going to
like
give
it.
a lot of bother.
It's also just going to be fun. Like they're always fun. Those ones like it's a good crack. So yeah, good to see you lads and myself and Calvin. I have two ends of my name, Nicky. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Very sorry.
The Fellowship, Thorns Company. We have named this the Chads of Middle Earth. Aragorn, with the bow, armor, horse, legless, armor, horse, and elven cloak. Gimli, son of glowing, Thorin, open shield with the workers and the open shield. Dwalin, Philly, Killy, and glowing. Best thing about this is that well, two best things about this are one, you ruled that we can do the passenger rule with Legolas and Gimli,
Yep.
and two, Gimli and Gloin are in the same team and are definitely going to be having a little tally competition. So
You guys were 5 points under, and I love the model of Legolas and Gimli as the passenger on the horse, because these aren't like building a list to try and like win the event gaming wise. I thought like it'd be nice to
yeah,
give you that
it'll be
opportunity to use that
funny.
model.
It'll just be funny. Like, I mean, yeah, we definitely won't do well, but we'll have a fuckload of might. So there
You
is
could
that.
do well. They're
You know, I
like
was thinking about like I've got killy dwarves. We do have killy guys, generally speaking, but
stick together and you should be all right.
I mean, it just depends. I mean, it just completely depends on the scenario, doesn't it? But like, we're not there to win. We're very much there to have a laugh and see who wins out of Gloin and Gimli. And Legolas is just sidelined in that competition, even though the rules there. Um, so this is my bit of lore. I will apologize before reading it because it is absolutely insane.
Is
But
this a chat GTP or
oh
your
no,
own?
this is all me, mate. This is just pure ADHD. That's what this is. So
I actually haven't read this yet either, so I'm looking forward to it.
oh god, it's so bad. Do you know, I will say one thing though. I was in between ideas, and Garage did give me a little bit of inspiration in this in terms of how it went down, and I just thought it was hilarious. So, our tale takes place in another timeline where the winds of time are ripped and torn asunder. In a story that may yet seem familiar, Theoden leads his people to the safety of Helm's Deep, awaiting the siege of Saruman's great armies. On this journey, he was joined by three of Middle Earth's greatest chads: Aragorn, the Ranger and Dunedain, descendant of Numenor; Legolas, Prince of the Woodland Realms; and Gimli, son of Gloin. As they crossed the hills, they were, as I'm sure you remember, suddenly set upon by warg riders of the enemy. There was great confusion in the coming fight, with those able remaining to hold back the hordes, whilst others attempted to bring the women and children to safety. Amongst the chaos, Aragorn, son of Arathorn, mounted one of the wargs and slit the rider's throat. As the rider fell, Aragorn became tangled in the straps of the beast, struggling to free himself as the leather pulled tighter with every moment. At the last second, he looked up and the terror struck him. The warg, panicked and enraged, was coming ever closer to the edge of the cliff, seemingly unaware of its soon-to-be self-inflicted fate. At the very last, the warg stuck its heels into the ground and tried to turn, but it was too late. Legolas looked up to see the beast fly over the edge, with Aragorn in tow. Quickly, he grabbed his horse and galloped towards Gimli, who had just freed himself from underneath a rather heavy dead warg. He grabbed the dwarf by the scruff of the neck and swung him like a rag doll onto the back of his horse. "Are you bloody mental, you damn it?" Before he could finish the sentence, Legolas had jumped them from the cliff in pursuit of Aragorn, and they fell. And they fell. And they fell. For what seemed an age. Until smash! They seemed to land into some wooden barrels flying down a river. Worst of all, it seemed that they'd landed on some other living thing, or at least they used to be alive. The power of the crash sent the barrels bashing into each other violently, causing some to smash against rocks and others to sink into the rapids. There was blood everywhere, and our three Chads were unsure what had just happened. As they came to a rest, they climbed out of the barrels and looked inside to see what unfortunate small animal they had crushed in their landing. To their dismay, there looked to be three rather dead dwarves, and going by the destruction in the rapids, I'd guess likely a few more. 5 other barrels had also washed up, and from these came our 5 other great Chads of Middle-earth. Thorn Oakenshield, Gimli's Dag Loin, Dwalin, Philly, and Kelly. At first, the dwarves seemed confused as to why 5 of their crew were missing and 3 of them pancakes in a barrel. But then Glowing's eyes widened, and he said, Gimli, you wee bastard! That's my boy! And all was forgotten, and a new party formed. And so the Chads of Middle-earth were born. The end.
Fantastic. I love how you conveniently killed all the shit dwarves as well, and the
Yeah,
good ones dead.
exactly what happened. Yeah, no one questioned a thing.
I wasn't sure where that was going, and I was like, "No, he'll not have killed it," and then he did.
Genuinely had no idea what to do. Like, I was just like, fuck it. We'll go with the extreme. My busters are yours and Isaac's list, which is horrible. Like I say, Dark Denizens of Mirkwood, 12 Mirkwood spiders, you horrible man. 1 bat swarm, 1 fell ward coming under the Spider Queen. Thryden coming in with 4 Caribbean, 3 feral Urukai, and 5 Dunling Horsemen. The normal Urukai are enough, that's just probably feral ones. And the Wild Man Oathmaker, 5 Wild Men of Dunland, 4 Wild Men of Dunland, 2 Handed Axes on those ones, and 2 Dunling Horsemen. Probably not going to get to play this, unfortunately. Like, but I'm quite happy about
No,
that. But
I was looking forward to getting one game with my Feral Urukai before they go to Legends as well, but it's not looking like I'll be needed to buy bust, so
mhm,
no Ferals. Um,
yeah.
but I didn't write lore for this either because it's not needed in the end.
Yeah, I mean, you could still end up having a few games at the side, depending on how quickly people finish. Final touches. Who do we think's going to win? Will Peter and Ben retain the title, or do we think Ian and Collie maybe,
I think
or Shay and Tim?
I think
Would it be throwing
Ben
up?
and Peter might retain their title with this, but I think that Shay and Tim will be hot at their heels. I
Yeah.
also think like Double Mimic's going to win some
To
of
be
his
honest, that could do
games.
it as well. Yeah, like they are a black horse. I was going to say your black horse is, and that's 100% mine. Um,
Um, so
yeah,
yeah, I'd say my dark horse is going to be
that's
the
it,
Double
dark horse.
Mimics. Two very good players piloting them as well. But then I do think like Peter and Ben's army is written to win the event, and then hot at their heels, I think, will be Shay and
Yeah,
Tim.
Jane Townsend far off it. Both very tough. Yeah, and then yeah, just a shame that Chris and Bill won't be there, but we shall play in their honor. So yeah, that's it. That's all of the lists, all
Yeah.
10 of them, but 9 teams,
Uh, down to eight, so
and
eight
8,
teams.
8 teams.
Yeah.
So yeah, starts a couple of days. Should be a good crack. Updates to follow, hopefully. Hope you enjoyed all the lists. Unreal to Chris for writing a story which I want to hear the rest of because it ended quite suddenly.
Great effort
Um,
by everyone this year.
yeah,
Their lower part.
yeah. So yeah, thanks for watching and enjoy.
Thank you, Connor. See you
No
Saturday.
hassle, sir. Yes.